Welcome to I Feel Fat Today. I'm your host, Existential Dread Barbie. Thank you so much for joining. With me, I have my little girl, my little baby Maddie, that's here with me for the week. Her mom is having a human baby. Pretty exciting. She'll be my co-host until she decides she doesn't want to be. Thank you so much for joining. As always, head over to our YouTube page for full video episodes. And please subscribe, like, and comment. This episode is going to be a solo episode. We are not going to segue into an interview with anybody. We're going solo this week. And so if you are not a fan of the first half, usually, or intro of my weekly podcast, then this is not the episode for you. Let me know in the comments, though, of this video how much you hate it, because the algorithm needs it. Yeah, that was Maddie's cue to be like, I'm out of here. It's very hot where I'm sitting right now. I don't know if it's the beauty light or the fact that my air conditioning has been put on overdrive, but it's I'm not struggling as much as I was struggling last week, but you know, we're still going. I feel like all I need is just like a fan, but that's okay. I don't have a fan. All right, yeah, so that's YouTube. Please subscribe, please like, please comment on the videos. Go to Apple Podcasts. If you have an iPhone, you have an Apple Podcast icon on your phone. Please go there and please rate and review the podcast there. That helps get it out to more people. And you can also listen there. And if there's anywhere that you get podcasts or anywhere that you listen to podcasts and you're finding that I Feel Fat Today is not on there, send me a DM. Shoot me a message. Be like, Kelly, your podcast is not on Google Play, and that's the only way I listen to podcasts. Let me know. I'll do my due diligence to get it out there. That's what I did over the weekend. I was like, all right, I'm going to make sure that this thing is on every platform. And I think I hit all of them, but there's probably a bunch I missed. I don't know. So let me know. Follow us on social media. You can follow us on Instagram. Follow the podcast at I Feel Fat Today. And you can follow me, your host, Kelly Taylor, on Instagram at Hello, This is Kelly. All right, now that we got that out of the way, yes, solo podcast. These will happen every now and again. Most of the time, we're going to have guests. I feel like that's the best way to do podcasts, in my opinion, for this format. I like to do my little intros, but having a guest makes things more interesting, and I like learning about, you know, new people, and I feel like I find things out about my friends that I feel like I should know this, and then I find out here. So that's why I like to have guests and learn about all their different backgrounds and all that stuff. But this week we're gonna do solo, so I have some fun things for us to go over, and I think you're gonna like it. I am unintentionally dressed in all pink. I'm wearing a pink shirt. My pants are like a pinky red, and my LaCroix is also pink. Don't know how this happened. Maybe it's because I have Barbie on the brain, because I did go see Barbie this weekend. Let me tell you, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I highly recommend. I hope you guys are not seeing how messy my desk is right now. Before Barbie, as you can see behind me, I have a bunch of stuff on the walls, whereas before it was just, you know, depressing and not looking great. I am building my gallery wall. Obviously, we have a lot more work to do, but we're building it. We're working on it. And I think this is going to look really cute, and I'm really excited to film in front of here. Oh my. We got dogs barking. Sorry about that. Relax, guys. Okay. We're going to persevere, because I don't even know if the mics are picking this up. Okay. Barbie was great. I loved it. It made me cry. I'm really glad I went alone to see Barbie, because I knew I was going to cry. I just felt like it was going to happen. My one friend, Laura Sogar, who was a guest on our podcast, I believe she was episode 4. Check out that episode. But Laura Sogar went to a theater in Brooklyn to see Barbie, and freaking Greta Gerwig was there. How cool. She was like, I did not expect to go to a social media event, but here I am in my after work clothes, and she got to see, she was front row, and she sent me a video of Greta Gerwig just thanking people for watching the movie. How cool is that? But no, I loved it. The thing that I am, of course, because we can't have nice things without, people fighting and whatever. But there have been some people on the internet that are against Barbie because apparently it's pushing a feminist agenda. And of course, when you watch the movie, it's going to be laid on a little thick, but it's camp. Camp is thick. You're supposed to lay things on thick when you're trying to like hone in a message. And so, yeah, I don't want to spoil anything about the movie, but like the let me see if I can find my words because I had a whole little thing prepared. Barbie movie it's a movie that I would have loved to have had as a young girl, because as I grew up, I became very reality. I felt like it was completely disingenuous from what I was told was going to happen, that, I can work really hard and get further along. And I didn't realize that just by virtue of being a girl, it was going to be impeding me in some way. And I feel like the Barbie movie is exactly what we needed in 2023 with, everything with like Roe versus Wade, being overturned in the last year or a little bit over a year ago now. And it felt really good to be a girl sitting there watching that movie and just thinking like, oh, this is the energy that we need. It was great. And if you're somebody that agrees with someone like Ben Shapiro, I'm trying not to curse in the first few minutes of this, but let's be real, little pecker Ben Shapiro, saying that, it's pushing a woke feminist agenda and the movie was trash. It's like, tell me that you want things to stay the same without telling me you want things to stay the same. Like, your manhood is so fragile that you are intimidated by a movie that's all pink. That says a lot about you and a lot less about the movie. On the other side of that coin, because I always have to do this, if you're somebody that had no intention of watching or seeing the Barbie movie, but now that you've seen how angry it's made people like Ben Shapiro, and that's your motivation for going to see the Barbie movie, you also suck, okay? That tells me that you're not a girl's girl, and I don't like girls that are not a girl's girl. I don't know. I think that that's a very lame motivation. Your true motivation for going to see the Barbie movie really should be to see Ryan Gosling. That's it. If you have any other sort of motivations for going to Barbie and it's not to see Ryan Gosling play Ken, then I can't help you, and you need to get your priorities straight. The other movie that I went to see this weekend, where my motivation was to go based on how hot I think the main character is, not that Ryan Gosling was the main character, you know what I mean, was Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer was great. It was lovely. It was 3 hours where I didn't even really think about looking at my phone. God, that movie theater was really hot, though, and it did take me out of it a little bit. But Oppenheimer was great. I really enjoyed it, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I knew what the fuck was going on. I had no idea. I was lost, not 100% of the time, but nearly 100% of the time. I don't feel like this is like letting anything go if you have any grasp of history at all, you know that Oppenheimer made the atomic bomb. Once they dropped the bomb and the series of events that happened after that, that's when I was fucking confused. Okay, I was like, I need subtitles. I need to know who this person is. I'm completely lost. But it was great. It was awesome. And now that it's one of those movies where you need to like watch it in the theater, and then you need to have it at home where you can have subtitles on and you can pause it to turn to your autistic boyfriend that knows a little bit too much about history and ask him questions to clarify a few things. So I'm looking forward to watching it with that experience as well. Okay. This week I am still in a low grade post Taylor Swift Eras Tour concert depression. I'm going to try to stop talking about it. I think this may be the last week that I am talking about it, about the concert and about how I feel afterwards. But there are a few things that I want to share with you. And it's a solo episode, so I can do whatever I want. All right? I got time to fill. All right. So, yeah, I don't know. Just feeling a little bit just like I had so many amazing chemicals release into my brain at that concert 2 nights in a row where I'm still not at equilibrium. I'm not at homeostasis. I'm trying to come back there. And it's like I didn't realize how much recovery I was going to need. And I've seen bands that I have used their fandom as my entire personality, and I have not felt this way this long after seeing them in concert. But Taylor, she did it. She really did it. She really, really did. And it's okay. We're on the road to recovery. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and that light is the Facebook group that I joined pre-concert. Because here's something about me. Something about me, and this isn't the most original thought I've ever had, but a little about me. If I'm going to an event, if I am going to a destination, if I have even subtle interest in something, I'm joining a Facebook group about it. And just know that about me up front. I am joining a Facebook group about it. And let me tell you, the Taylor Swift Denver Eras Tour is just the gift that keeps on giving. All right. Not only was the group helpful in having any questions that you may have, the thing that I like about Facebook groups is that it's like crowdsourced problem solving. That's how I'll describe the purpose of Facebook groups for something like an event. Like if you have tickets to go to an event, crowdsourced problem solving. You have a question about like, oh, I want to know about hotels in the area. Where are some hotels that you guys are staying? It's like instead of Googling it and having to do all of your own research, it's nice having people that have experienced it and said, oh, this is what I'm doing. This is where we're decided to stay. That kind of stuff, that kind of thing. And I don't care if that's anti-millennial of me. I think Facebook is very millennial. I have millennial friends that say that they don't touch Facebook. They don't know why they ever got onto Facebook. And all I'm saying is that don't forget where you frickin' came from. Okay, so the whole reason why I bring this up is because there have been, here's the thing about the Taylor Swift fandom. Swifties, in a word, unhinged. Okay? It's with love. I say it with love. We're a little unhinged. And I'm saying we because, like, I can't not include myself in, the bizarre fandom that is Taylor Swift fans. I'm fans of many different... I love being a fan. I'm fans of many different bands, things, fans of products, whatever. And I can definitely see how, like, each group can be toxic or whatever. I think Swifties take the cake. And it's just bizarre. But I am one, so, reap what you sow, I guess. But I have some posts here from the Facebook group that I want to share because they're just so funny, and I feel like my audience would appreciate it. All three of you. Okay, so I have two different posts here. I was gonna go through and comb through a bunch, but I don't know. I don't want to spend that much time. Okay, so the first thing I got here. Now these are all posts that occurred after the concert. Okay, so the one post was 2 days after the concert. Got a positive pregnancy test this morning. Baby's first concert is officially Taylor. Now to decide how to tell my husband. So much excitement this weekend. Okay, so I guess that post was from before the concert, and the screenshot that I'm looking at is just old. But yeah, someone took a pregnancy test, saw that they were pregnant, and posted in the Facebook group the positive pregnancy test, and then said that it's now how to decide to tell my husband. I'm sorry, that's crazy. Also, I don't know, this person posted anonymously, so I don't know how old they are. I don't know if they have other children. I have no idea. I know nothing about this anonymous person, but like you can't tell people about your pregnancy until you reach like a certain stage. And she told a group of like 100,000 people that she's pregnant, and I'm just like, whoa. That thing's a zygote. That thing might suicide mission itself. It might say, you know what, this lifetime, not for me, and detach itself from your uterine wall. Sorry. I just think it's crazy. I don't know. But I'm also super mad superstitious about shit like that. I think it's unhinged. So that was the first thing. And then the second post I have is there was a thread in the Facebook group following the first night of the concert, Friday night show. So these were posted Saturday morning, where people were posting about their experience at the concert. And one thread was someone posing the question basically like, what was your section like? I'm a little bit disappointed in my section. I feel like my section wasn't as excited to see Taylor. I don't know what she was talking about because my section was hype, but I digress. It basically was kind of a thread for people to go on to and complain. And this one comment was so funny that I died. So I'm going to read it to you. Okay, this woman posts, 1 row in front and 2 seats to the left of us, we had a girl drunk AF who puked all over herself and her friend during the red era. Then she passed out cold, and it smelled, all caps, atrocious. So our entire row agreed to get security. It took 15 guards and medics to move her into the aisle, and 10 minutes for them all to get her up the stairs. Passing out at a Taylor Swift concert, 10-minute version. Anyways, then we had stadium crew come and clean up her mess, spraying chemicals everywhere that didn't really mask the smell, just made it worse. It eventually dissipated, and I truly hope she's okay. But the 1989 era was overshadowed by that nonsense. Don't understand at all the effort and money it took to get there just to do that. But play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That's amazing. That is the best post in this group. There are a lot of other gems, but I picked my 2 faves, the 2 standouts. And I think that is just so funny. I have to say, I'm saying this as a 30-year-old woman. I am saying this as someone that has undoubtedly, undeniably, if I could take a time machine and go back in time and stop myself from embarrassing myself where alcohol was involved throughout my 20s, I would pay. The limit does not exist on what I would pay to be able to go back and do to right my wrongs as a drunk 20-something. So I want to say that before what I'm about to say, which is I can't imagine going all the way to Taylor Swift and, being in any sort of state where like I wouldn't want to remember every little thing that was happening at the concert and like really let it integrate. But again, I've been through a lot of therapy. I've done a lot of healing. I realize you don't always need alcohol to have fun. Kill me. But yeah, I thought that was just so funny, and hope that girl's okay. I don't mean to laugh when, she's talking about this person, passing out and needing to, be brought out. But the whole thing of like 15 security guards and medics, like, it just was funny. And that's the thing. I think that I feel like the Denver show, I have no idea. I haven't gone to other shows, and I'm not in other Facebook groups about this show, about the Taylor Swift show. That's not true. I was in the MetLife group. But I had to leave once I didn't get tickets. What am I talking about? I feel like the Denver show, people don't realize the altitude will fuck with you, and you can get straight up altitude sickness, and that can make you pass out. Not to mention the fact that, a tall boy at Empower Stadium is different than a tall boy at MetLife because of the altitude. It's also vastly different prices. But I think I may have said that on the last episode. So, yeah, there's that. So that's what I had to talk about Taylor Swift today. I don't think I'll always have something to talk about, but I might each week. I don't know. Okay, moving on to more pertinent orders of business that are related to the theme of the podcast. I just started a wonderful book called Intuitive Eating. Now, the reason why I have started this book is because I am somebody that will watch a few dozen TikToks, do a light graze on Google, and become a bona fide expert in said subject of what I've watched TikToks and grazed Google on. And you may have noticed in prior episodes, I have referenced intuitive eating and sort of gave my armchair expert information on what I have about intuitive eating. And I realized I really shouldn't do that. So I want to know what I'm talking about. So that was one motivation for getting the book. And the other motivation was this is something that like I'm striving to integrate into my life because I'm done with diets and I am done with diet culture. I'm done with hating my body. I'm done with feeling like I need to look different. I just want to feel different. I want to feel better. And I think the principles of intuitive eating will help me with that. The claims of this book say that it will. I don't know. Something that I'm interested in is the thing with intuitive eating or being anti-diet culture in general is that I can be somebody that doesn't have diets applied to my life. Like I won't go on a calorie restrictive diet or any kind of diet with the goal of losing weight, but I still want to lose weight. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. In reading intuitive eating and in trying to really implement this into my life, I hope that I lose weight. Okay? I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I don't want that to be a side effect of this. I'm also kind of going into it knowing that that's probably going to happen, just based on really implementing the procedures of the book or the principles of the book, because so much of personally my eating is binge eating, and I haven't really binged in a long time, but a lot of it is like unconscious eating. A lot of it is of what I do is eating to self-soothe, drinking to self-soothe, and I am done with that. I need better coping mechanisms. I need to understand what is happening with me and feel my feelings. And I think what you can learn from intuitive eating, so they have said in the forward, is that if you're somebody that is still struggling with this desire to be thin or change your body, intuitive eating can help you sort of dismantle those desires, figure out why you want that to be that way, and release yourself of that prison. Having said that, I am still trying to survive in a society where fatness is looked at as low value and thinness is looked at with high regard and almost a prerequisite to participate in the game of success. So, still dealing with that. But we'll see. So I have that, and so I'm really excited to go on this journey and update you as I learn things and give you suggestions of what I have found through this book. I also purchased a workbook to go through it, so I'll let you know what that's like. I think I'm gonna go. My plan right now is to go through, read the book, and then look at the workbook. But I don't know. Maybe I'll do it in tandem. I also don't want to be walking around with like giant books in my bag, walking around the city. So I don't know. So there's that. Okay, so that's intuitive eating. I'll let you know how that goes. Okay. Are you familiar with the term girl dinner? If you aren't, do you live under a rock? Because that is all the craze in the last week or two, maybe 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks of the internet has been girl dinner. And I have seen, when I first saw, of course, it originated on TikTok, as all great topics do. When I first saw the TikTok in regards to girl dinner, I was like, oh, do I know this? I would call them depression meals, because it's just like, you throw a handful of something on here. It's like a handful of tortilla chips with a sprinkle of shredded cheese that you throw in the microwave for 30 seconds. And, you add some maybe sliced carrots on the side with like a side of ranch. It's kind of like it's like a girl dinner is like a clean out the fridge meal, or I'm too tired to cook, so I'm just going to have a snack plate. And I also would call them like a janky charcuterie board, or a leftover charcuterie. But now it's called girl dinner. It's all the rage. And what is a fun thing for the girlies to enjoy than to dissect it and wonder if it's problematic? So I found an article online about just this. So I want to read it, and I want to go into this a little bit with everybody, because I find it interesting. So this is from Glamour, and it's titled, "How Problematic is Girl Dinner Really?" This TikTok trend has gone from cute meme to subject of think pieces, condemning it as dangerous. We ask a dietitian to weigh in. And this is from July 22nd, 2023. So super recently. Just 3 days prior. Give me a second here. I need a reset before I go into this. Wait, I remember something I wanted to bring up. LaCroix, it's great. I love LaCroix. I have no loyalty to a brand of seltzer. I literally buy what's on sale. Big fan of Waterloo. They're usually on sale. LaCroix at my local food town has been on sale. So I get it. I had to go to Apple before I recorded this, and I had a 12-pack of LaCroix in the Apple store with me. And I was inspecting the box, and I see that it says 0 calorie, 0 sweetener, 0 sodium equals innocent. exclamation point. And I'm like, what? Innocent? Like it feels like it should say like tubular or exciting or fantastic, but it says innocent. I'm like, why does it say innocent exclamation point? And then I realized, oh, innocent is the opposite of guilty. And so that's why. And it's saying, so this drink is 0 calories, 0 sweetener, 0 sodium. It's innocent. It's a guilt-free drink, bev. Wonderful accompaniment to girl dinner. And that rubbed me the wrong way, which I'm not trying to sound preachy. I'm not saying this can is problematic. I'm not saying LaCroix is problematic. I'm not saying any of that. But it's also kind of just like, ew, like how retro to say something is, innocent and not something that's guilty. I don't know. I guess I also just like I'm done feeling guilty about like drinking a drink that has some sugar in it. Like fucking let me live. Life is so hard. I just want to enjoy a sweet little treat. All right, I'm reset. We're ready to get into this. Okay. How problematic is girl dinner really? You know those nights when your significant other is working late, so instead of cooking a meal, you just kind of graze? Now it has a name. Girl dinner, and it seems everyone has an opinion on it. The phrase was coined on TikTok by a woman named Olivia Maher, who posted a video in May discussing how she enjoys the simple pleasure of a meal of just light snacks. This is my dinner, she said, showing off her slice of bread, butter, a few grapes, cheese, and wine. I call it girl dinner or medieval peasant. The beauty of this trend, like many things that go mega viral online, is that Maher gave a cute and catchy name to something that is relatable to so many. Cooking sucks sometimes, and it can feel like a real treat just to indulge in whatever you can find in your house that you feel like eating. No pots or pans or thoughts or worries required. The fun is in the lack of effort, the deliciousness of indulging in your laziest instincts. In a world of meal prep and overnight oats, the freedom of taking the dregs of your cupboard and turning it into something delicious can't be understated. The girl dinner is a giddy experience, Maher told New York Times, because yes, girl dinner made the Times. You could be having the slice of frozen pizza, but you've also got maybe a glass of wine or grapes to go with it, and you're just so pleased with yourself. You're like, I barely worked for this, and it's just and it feels like an indulgence. That's what makes it girl dinner. The past few weeks, girl dinners have been blowing up on TikTok, with thousands of women posting their versions alongside a funny song another creator made, in which she gutturally sings the words. It's kind of like, girl dinner, girl dinner, girl dinner. It's exciting. So it's like, girl dinner, girl dinner, girl dinner, girl dinner. Sorry, I'm tone deaf. One woman made 2 different versions of a pasta, likely sourced from 2 different open bags, dousing it with shredded cheese and oil. Oh my God, I literally did that last night. She showed off her melted shredded cheese, this time on chips. Girl dinner can be popcorn, it can be pickles and strawberries, it can be Trader Joe's frozen rice and sauce. Even the anchors of the Today Show showed off their girl dinners in a segment with Jenna Bush Hager, who declared Triscuits are the world's best cracker. Triscuits did 9/11. I've never felt more connected to other women as I do right now, one commenter wrote on the Today's Show page. Isn't that nice? Girl dinner bringing us gals together, and that includes the girls, gays, and theys. You know, it's all of us. We all love, and boys too. Fine, you know, even though whatever. Girl dinner. We're just ladies that like to lunch. You know. All of these girl dinners have in common, what all these girl dinners have in common is not their contents, but the celebration of giving in to our deepest, maybe laziest desires for satiation. It also spawned a male counterpart, husband mealed, a similar ode to laziness with way, way more red meat. As girl dinner mania swelled to its apex this week, backlash started to creep in. Headlines began questioning whether girl dinner was actually problematic. Dun, dun, dun. Girl dinner is great. Girl dinner is not problematic. What is girl dinner? TikTok trend courts controversy wrote today. Wait, what was that sentence? What is girl dinner? TikTok trend courts controversy. Oh, I see. Okay. Sorry. What is girl dinner? TikTok trend courts controversy. Saying courts controversy like it's welcoming in court controversy. Wrote today. Saying some online were concerned the trend could just be starvation short shift. The New York Post called it Gen Z's disturbing new girl dinner trend, saying that some girl dinners, like a can of Coke or just a few pickles, seems just like disordered eating under a new fancy disguise. What's going on? Where are the hungry girls? The Post asked. It's true that girl dinners that consist of just a few snacks or a lone dessert would not be nutritionally sound if eaten every night, and no one should feel like they can only eat girl dinners. But are we overthinking a fun treat, or is it actually cause for concern? We ask Vanessa Rossetto, a registered dietitian and CEO of Culina Health, to weigh in. And she tells Glamour that it's not so black and white. It's totally fine once in a while to add a bunch of cheese, meat, fruit, and veggies to a plate and call it dinner, she says. It's summer and currently 95 degrees in New York City and in many cities, each and every day. The last thing any of us want to do is turn on the stove. That being said, be sure the plate includes protein, vegetables, and carbohydrates. Rossetto agrees, though, that if you're doing girl dinner every night or using it as an excuse to undereat, it can be a slippery slope. Eating only pickles for dinner, drinking Coke Zero as your meal, this trend can fall into the distorted eating territory, especially when it comes to people promoting and applauding it. Rossetto says, remember, it's all about the messaging and who's delivering it. Of course, we should all focus most of the time on making sure we are eating a balanced diet. If you are having a soda and a pickle for dinner every single night, that could be a sign to speak to your doctor about developing healthier eating habits. But does that mean girl dinners are on their own are promoting disordered eating? I don't think so. When I watch videos of girl dinners, what I'm noticing isn't actually the meals themselves, which in truth are sometimes disgusting, but the delight that women are taking in the beauty of not caring. In a world where it sometimes feels like women need to optimize every second of their existences, where we are told to count calories and macros and double wash our vegetables and make gluten-free substitutes and avoid dairy, sometimes it can be delicious to just pile up a big mound of hummus and crackers and call it a day. It's not about restriction. It's about indulging in the freedom of not giving a F, of eating what you want, even if it's just a soda and a pickle. At least that's what the creator's original intention. At least that was the creator's original intention. In an interview with Today, Maher emphasized that girl dinner isn't about the ingredients at all. Anything can be girl dinner if it makes you happy. Girl dinner can look like many things, Maher said, depending on what your needs are and what you had earlier in the day. But what matters is the feeling it evokes. Giddiness often goes along with it because it's what you want. It satisfies you. Eating what you want when you want, now that's satisfying. I thought that was a great little article about how the girlies had something fun on the internet, and then of course it had to, launch into a discourse on if girl dinner is problematic or not. And I think that if somebody is battling something like an eating disorder, they will use anything as an excuse to perpetuate their disease. And of course, girl dinner is one of those things. I think also there are people on the internet that will try to use something like girl dinner as a way to one up others on the internet. So like if I post a girl dinner of like a pretty fruitful, colorful plate of just like random things that would be my girl dinner, and someone sees that and wants to post that their girl dinner is half of that with a less amount of variety, i.e. pickles and a Coke Zero, then that's can be her way of being like, oh, this is all I need for my girl dinner. I don't need all of, what everyone else is having on their girl dinners. Sure, that can happen. Girl dinners can be performative. I mean, sure. But I agree with this glamour little write-up about girl dinner. I think that it's a fun thing that we have, and I'm excited for my girl dinner later tonight because it's a night where I'm home alone. And it's also very cost effective. And yeah. Okay, so what would be my girl dinner plate? So I think my girl dinner is definitely going to be green olives. Okay, green olives. No pit is preferred, but, sure, maybe pitted. Green olives. A small hunk of a cheese. I would prefer 2 different kinds of cheese. I would like maybe more of a harder cheese, like a hunk of a Swiss, and then a hunk of like a goat cheese, a more spreadable cheese. So we're going to go green olives, hunk of Swiss, hunk of goat, some grapes, fruit of some choice. I usually have strawberries in the fridge. Definitely some raw veggies. I love crunching into a nice raw carrot. So we got carrots on there. We got strawberries on there, and some canned mayo with canned tuna with a little bit of mayo mixed in, obviously, and Frank's Red hot sauce. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to mash up an avocado, and I'm going to layer the avocado with salt. I'm going to mash up avocado, put in a little salt and pepper, mash it up, put it over these, it's sort of like a big Triscuit. It's like a any sort of vehicle where it can go from where I can put the avocado and the now hot sauced tuna on top and into my mouth. So whether that be a piece of toast, an English muffin, these like flat Triscuit like crackers, or maybe a series of a bunch of Triscuit crackers with, a little bit of the avocado and a little bit of the spicy tuna mixture on there. That's girl dinner. Cool, fun, love. I love girl dinner, and I am so excited. I did not realize how hungry I was going into this, and so I am fading. I would have a snack by me, but I don't need to be chomping into the microphone. Okay, one more thing to cover, and then we're done. What are you doing? Get out from over there. Sorry. Okay. I found this article on CNN today, and it actually was posted today. And I'm going to include it in the description of the show so you can go back and read it yourself. But this article is about some negative side effects that we're seeing come out about the much desired Ozempic. Now, I'm not talking about this to be like, oh, boo Ozempic, screw you if you're on it, and I don't want you to ever be happy or feel love. That's not what I'm saying. I just thought it was interesting because when Ozempic started becoming popular earlier this year, in the last few years, whatever the case may be, we didn't really know what the side effects were looking like. People were having issues with constipation. People were having issues with throwing up. There were things happening that were pretty apparent, but now we're finding some other or we were, science is finding some other side effects that are popping up because of this drug. And I thought it was the perfect article to read on here and discuss. Okay, so this is from CNN Health. It is by Brenda Goodman of CNN, and it was literally posted today, July 25th. Not to pull back the curtain so that you know when I'm recording, but that's when I'm recording this. Okay, they took blockbuster drugs for weight loss and diabetes. Now their stomachs are paralyzed. Terrifying. Okay. Da-da-da. Joni Knight has a message for anyone considering drugs like Ozempic or Wegovy, which have become popular for the dramatic weight loss they can help people achieve. I wish I never touched it. I wish I never heard of it in my life, said Knight, 37, of Angie, Louisiana. This medicine made my life hell. So much hell. It's cost me money. It's cost me lots of stress. It's cost me days and nights and trips with my family. It's cost me a lot, and it's not worth it. The price is too high. Brenda Allen, 42, of Dallas, feels the same way. Her doctor prescribed Wegovy for weight loss. And even now, being off the medication for almost a year, I'm still having a lot of problems, Allen said. She said she was at an urgent care recently after vomiting so much that she became dehydrated. Emily Wright, 38, a teacher in Toronto, started taking Ozempic in 2018. Over a year, she said she lost 80 pounds, which she's been able to keep off. But Wright says she now vomits so frequently that she had to take a leave of absence from her job. Okay, pause. I'm not saying that it's definite you go off of Ozempic and you're going to definitely gain the weight back. But they literally just said here that she lost 80 pounds from taking Ozempic. She's been able to keep it off, but now she vomits so frequently that she had to take a leave of absence from work. There's a word for when you throw up a lot and it causes for you to not gain weight. It's called bulimia, okay? I'm not saying she's bulimic, but in saying like, oh, I'm not on Ozempic anymore, but I've been able to keep the weight off. It's like, I wonder why. I've been off Ozempic for a year, but I'm still not back to my normal, Wright says. The diabetes drug Ozempic and its sister drug for weight loss, Wegovy, utilize the same medication, semaglutide. These and other drugs in this family, which includes medications like trizepatide and earglutide, work by mimicking a hormone that's naturally made by the body, GLP-1. One of the roles of GLP-1 is to slow the passage of food through the stomach, which helps people feel fuller longer. If the stomach slows down too much, however, that can cause problems. Knight and Wright have been diagnosed with severe gastroparesis, or stomach paralysis, which their doctors think may have resulted from or been exacerbated by the medication they were taking, Ozempic. Wright said she had also been diagnosed with cyclic vomiting syndrome, which causes her to throw up multiple times a day. Allen doesn't have a diagnosis for her stomach problems, but said they started only after she was encouraged by her doctor to take Wegovy to lose weight. She is managing her ongoing nausea and vomiting with a medication called Zofran. Oh, shout out to Zofran. That shit rocks. And prescription probiotics while she waits for more tests in October. The first available appointment she can get with specialists. And that's the thing. That's the thing about the pharmaceutical industry. This $1 trillion industry. Pharmaceuticals, and I'm not trying to sound like some hippie anti-vaxxer, anti-gender affirming care person. That's not what I'm trying to sound like right now. But the thing about the pharmaceutical industry, if you don't know, which you undoubtedly do, is that you are prescribed something, you often have symptoms from said prescription, and the cure for those symptoms are more prescriptions with more symptoms, in which you need more prescriptions. And it just keeps going and going and going and going until you die or go bankrupt, or both. Okay. Doctors say that more cases like these are coming to light as the popularity of the drug soared. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration said it has received reports of people on the drugs experiencing stomach paralysis that sometimes has not resolved by the time it's reported. And last month, the American Society of Anesthesiologists warned that patients should stop these medications a week before surgery because they can increase the risk that people will regurgitate food during an operation, even if they fasted as directed. Vomiting under anesthesia sometimes causes food and stomach acid to get into the lungs, which can cause pneumonia and other problems after surgery. And if you are getting pneumonia in the hospital, especially if you're old, that's not good. You'll probably die. Not to be, a fearmonger here. So far, extreme and unrelenting cases like these are believed to be rare, and they may be a result of the drug unmasking or worsening an existing slow stomach. Okay. Doctors say people can have a silent condition called delayed gastric emptying and not know it. There's nothing on the drug's label that specifically cautions that gastroparesis may occur. So that's not even, this could, gastroparesis, as we're finding out about Ozempic, let's say, not just Ozempic, there's Wegovy, there's Mounjaro, there's all these other ones. But this is a symptoms that you can have that people being prescribed this don't know that they could get this. And this is why it's a problem. In response to CNN's request for comment, Novo Nordisk, maker of Ozempic and Wegovy, pointed out that drugs in this class may be used for 15 years to treat diabetes and for 8 years to treat obesity, and they have been extensively studied in the real world and in clinical trials. Gastrointestinal events are well-known side effects of the GLP-1 class. For semaglutide, the majority of GI side effects are mild to moderate in severity and of short duration. GLP-1s are known to cause a delay in gastric emptying, and noted that the label that each of our GLP-1 RA medication... Okay, sorry, I read that a little too fast. This is saying that GLP-1s are known to cause a delay in gastric emptying, as noted in the label of each of our GLP-1 RA medications. Symptoms of delayed gastric emptying, nausea and vomiting are listed as side effects, the statement said. Okay, I just want to say this is coming from the maker of Ozempic, okay? If I had a podcast that was causing people to drive off a bridge when they listen to it, and I'm the creator of this podcast, I'm going to come to you with some information saying that that's not what's happening, even though that's clearly what's happening. Does that make sense? I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm really not that. I'm dumb. Okay. Gastroparesis can have many causes, including diabetes, which is a reason many people are on these drugs in the first place. Women are known to be a higher risk of this condition too. In more than half of the cases of gastroparesis, doctors are unable to find a cause. They may just be really unlucky, says Dr. Michael Camarelli, a gastroenterologist at the Mayo Clinic, said of the people who shared their cases with CNN. On the other hand, this is how the drugs work. Although many doctors or patients understand this or the problems. On the other hand, this is how drugs work. Although not many doctors or patients understand this or the problems that may follow, he said. Calamari received a grant from the National Institute of Health to study how one of the first GLP-1 agonists, a drug called iraglutide, affects stomach function. He recruited 40 obese adults and randomly assigned them to increasing doses of this glutide or a placebo, which had no active ingredients. After 5 weeks, he had people in the study eat a meal laced with radioactive tracer so he could see how long food stayed in their stomachs. People taking the liraglutide had dramatically slowed digestion compared to those on the placebo. It took about 70 minutes for half of the food they ate to leave their stomachs, compared with just 4 minutes in the placebo group. Whoa. So people that were on the medication in this study, it took 70 minutes for the food to leave their stomach to go into their small intestine, and the people that were on the placebo, it only took 4 minutes. And that was just the average delay. In some patients on liraglutide, the time it took for half the meal to leave their stomachs was about 151 minutes, or more than 2.5 hours. So that's how you get the feel fuller, longer effect of the drug. Calamari said the group taking liraglutide lost weight, and the bigger delay in food leaving the stomach, the more weight people seem to lose. Fortunately, people in the study seemed to adjust to the medication over time. After 16 weeks, people in the group taking liraglutide were clearing about half the food they ate from their stomachs in about 30 minutes, as opposed to 7 minutes in the placebo group. Symptoms of nausea and vomiting seemed to ease too. Unfortunately, there have not been these types of robust studies, and so the whole idea that this class of medications actually delays gastric emptying is not as well recognized, Calamari said. It's conceivable that some patients may have borderline slow gastric emptying, and starting one of the GLP-1 agonists may participate in full-blown gastroparesis. Okay, so what that is saying is that if you're somebody who has a normal digestive system and you eat your food, the food's going to empty from your stomach, let's call it 4 minutes, based on what was said in this article, right? If you are one of those people and you then go on this medication, we're looking at the stomach emptying, looking at about 70 minutes. So think about that. You're obviously going to be fuller longer because it's taking a longer time for your stomach to empty out, and you get hungry when your stomach is empty, right? Okay. But if you're somebody, maybe you're one of these, I just have a good metabolism people, and, you know, the kind of people that like are just naturally thin, that can kind of eat whatever. Maybe you're a person that has already slow gastric emptying. So it could take your stomach a while to empty without any medication, but then you go on the medication and now you're looking at about 151 minutes with stomach emptying. And I'm just going off of these figures, but I'm only saying that to try to like paint the picture of like what the drug is doing, like the function of the drug and how it's affecting people and why people are finding that it's not really working for them. Maybe you're somebody that has a slow emptying stomach, and so you're going on something that can slow it down even more, which can then cause problems. Okay, moving on. How am I throwing up this much? Joni Knight remembers exactly what she ate on her birthday in 2021. She ordered chicken fajitas at one of her favorite restaurants. She ate 3 skinny French fries and 2 or 3 pieces of chicken, and then felt panic set in when she couldn't swallow the food. I need to pause really quick. She literally just described Jose Tejas in New Jersey, because she said chicken fajitas, and immediately I was like, oh, the blackened chicken fajitas. The greatest meal ever. And 3 skinny French fries, those skinny French fries, they're so good. I could never imagine having just 3 of them. Also, I heard Jose Tejas changed the French fries. Ugh. Anyways, sorry, that's a deep cut of only a restaurant that people that live in parts of New Jersey would know. Okay. It felt like it was stuck in my throat, said Knight, who had been taking Ozempic for 2 years at that point and was already eating very little every day as a result. Her birthday dinner triggered a bout of violent vomiting. Oh, happy birthday. I thought I hadn't eaten. How am I throwing up this much, she says. She went to see a gastroenterologist, a doctor who specializes in stomach problems. They put a tube with a camera down her throat and into her stomach to see what the issue might be. They said, "Your stomach is full of food," she said. Normally, less than 10% of the food will be left in the stomach 4 hours after a meal. When it climbs to between 10 and 15%, it's considered mild gastroparesis. Moderate gastroparesis is when 15 to 35% of food is left. Severe gastroparesis is when over 35% after 4 hours. A gastro-emptying study, a test that measures how food moves through the stomach, put Knight in the severe category. She said she stayed nauseated all the time, no matter how little she ate, and she took a prescription anti-nausea medication like it was candy. Still, doctors didn't connect her stomach problems to the Ozempic she was taking. Although the prescription information for the drug warns of nausea and vomiting, it mentions only that the drug causes a delay in stomach emptying as a warning that it might affect the absorption of other medications. It was almost 4 more months until a specialist took her off the medication. Emily Wright, a teacher from Ontario, said Ozempic helped her shed 80 pounds in 1 year. She continued to take it to help manage her blood sugar. She always felt sick. She said she vomited every day, but kind of got used to it. She would wake up and throw up, and then her day would get better. In clinical trials, nearly half of people, 44% who took Wegovy, reported nausea, and almost 1 in 4 reported vomiting. Both are common symptoms of gastroparesis. In clinical trials for Ozempic, which is the same medication as Wegovy, but given at a lower dose, 1 in 5 people reported nausea, and 1 in 10 reported vomiting. In September 2020, Wright had to be hospitalized for dehydration related to the vomiting, and that prompted her to push her doctors for more answers. A gastric emptying study showed that she had gastroparesis. Her doctors put her on 2 more medications to try to help her manage her symptoms, but didn't take her off Ozempic because they didn't suspect it was contributing. Diabetes can also cause gastroparesis, but that typically happens only in people who have had the disease for at least a decade and have chronically high blood sugars that have damaged the nerves that control the stomach. Both Knight and Wright say that their doctors dismissed that possibility in their cases. Everybody said there's no way it's diabetes, said Wright. Everybody said there's no way it's diabetes, said Wright, who had been diagnosed with diabetes for only 5 years when she developed gastroparesis. In December 2022, her vomiting got much worse. Standing in front of her classroom, Wright said she began having burps that smelled so strongly of sulfur and rotten eggs that the kids began to comment on, "What is that? Where's that coming from?" they said. Then, instead of just vomiting the food she'd recently eaten, Wright noticed that she was throwing up food she'd eaten 3 or 4 days prior. Oh, God. Another gastric emptying test showed her condition had deteriorated. Then the GI doctor said, "Well, I've been seeing a lot of clients coming in with full stomachs Then the GI doctor said, "Well, I've been seeing a lot of clients coming in with full stomachs on endoscopy who are on Ozempic. So let's try taking you off Ozempic," Wright said. Both Knight and Wright said they got some relief after coming off the medication, but the problems continued. Now, Wright said, instead of throwing up a meal she ate several days ago, she mostly vomits food she's recently eaten. For people with gastroparesis from any cause, these stories are the norm. It takes a steep mental and physical toll on people who live with it. Knight eventually had stomach bypass surgery. It's similar to the technique used for weight loss, but it can also be a treatment for severe gastroparesis. She said it has allowed her to eat some of her favorite foods again, like a few bites of pizza or chicken. Previously, I was on an extreme amount of vitamins because I wasn't eating. Now I can eat through that and not. Now I can eat enough that I'm not malnourished, Knight said. Wright said she was just hoping her condition will improve with medications and time. We don't know when we're going to get better. I think that's the hardest part, she said. Like, if you could give me like a year or 2 years, that would be something to hope for. Weighing benefits and risks. Drug regulators say that they've received reports of stomach paralysis among patients taking GLP-1 agonist drugs. The FDA has received reports of gastroparesis with some semaglutide and liraglutide, some of which documented the adverse events is not recovered after discontinuation of the respective product at the time of the report. So it's saying that it's being reported that people are experiencing gastroparesis and they're not recovering once they discontinued Ozempic. The reports have been submitted through the agency publicity. The reports that have been submitted through the agency's publicly accessible adverse events tracking system, and the FDA said that there's not always enough information in those reports to properly evaluate them. Sounds like an excuse to me. If you trust the FDA, get your fucking head checked and you should lose the right to vote. The FDA said it has been unable to determine whether the medications were the cause or if the gastroparesis may have been caused by a different issue. All right, enough. That's like, I don't want to hear this. What do you mean? There's not enough information. Gastroparesis can be a complication of diabetes that is related to long-standing or poorly controlled disease, further complicating the ability to determine what role the drugs play. Asked whether doctors and patients should be warned about the risk for people who are known to have slow digestion to begin with, the FDA said the benefits of the medication may still outweigh its risks, even for this group. Regulations pertaining to drug labeling state that a drug should be contradicted only in those clinical study situations for which the risk from use clearly outweighs any possible therapeutic benefit. Only known hazards and not theoretical possibilities can be the basis for the contraindication, the agency said. The FDA said people with gastroparesis weren't excluded from the clinical trials of these medications, and the benefits for people and the benefits for diabetes and weight management may outweigh the risks in some patients with gastroparesis or delayed gastric emptying. So I see what they're saying there. It's like, listen, if you're someone that has diabetes and Ozempic, I'm saying Ozempic because it's easier than saying semaglutide, but if that helps with your blood sugar management, then sure, yeah, the risk of gastroparesis maybe doesn't outweigh the reward or the benefit of your blood sugar being regulated. But for weight management, that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me that you would rather have sulfuric burps that could result in surgery because food from days ago is still in your stomach. Oh, God. This is a tangent. This is a weird tangent. But I always think about how when someone's on death row and they have their last meal, then they go right into, the chair or whatever. They just have that meal in their stomach. And now you're going to die with a full meal in you. And it's just like, oh, that shit's going to rot. So think about that. Think about that. If you have food in your stomach from 4 days ago, that's disgusting. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to shame anybody. I'm not above semaglutide, okay? I've tried it in the past. Literally, I've done this. And I didn't have nearly as many side effects as this. But that's gross. Okay, so basically they're just saying that, the risk may not outweigh the reward, and so that's why it's still healthy. Concern for surgery. Anesthesiologists say that there are real hazards involved with stomach paralysis on these medications, and doctors and patients need more information about the risks. Dr. Renuka George, Fellowship Director of Regional Anesthesiology at the Medical University of South Carolina, recently tweeted a photo of the stomach contents suctioned from a patient who had fasted as directed, but was taking GLP-1 agonist for diabetes. The stomach, she said, was basically full, even though the person had followed all the surgical prep instructions to the letter. I'm sorry. Trigger warning, I guess. That's gross. George explained that this is a cautionary tale. This has become more, I guess, front and center for anesthesiologists simply because aspiration is a big concern. Getting juices in your lungs when you're in surgery. Okay, so this is just talking about, you can get pneumonia. This is bad if you, throw up while you're in surgery. The big concern is if we have patients that aren't aware of this and don't tell their anesthesiologist, because not everybody wants to advertise that they're on a weight loss drug. So she said, so that becomes a problem because they're not fastened appropriately. The American Society of Anesthesiologists is advising doctors to have patients stop their medications for 1 week prior to surgery to prevent aspiration. But President Dr. Michael Champu said they aren't sure what the right amount of time to fast or stop the drug would be. So they're kind of just saying a week prior to surgery, but they don't really know. Okay. Let me see. We're near the end here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't like the idea of food that is days old being in my stomach. Sorry, I'm troubled by this. That's so gross. Clearly, I read the first part of this article and not the second part, as you can see how affected I am by this. I read the second part sort of live on the recording. But, yeah. Oof. So if you're somebody that is on a weight loss management injector, like semaglutide or one of those, and you're having those sulfuric burps, it's because you got rotting food in your stomach. Maybe rotting isn't the right word, but I mean, you have partially digested days old food in your stomach, and that sucks. And I don't like that. And so yeah, so there's that, and I don't want to yuck anyone's yum, but I don't know. There was something else I wanted to say about this before I let you go. Here's what I'll say. The thing that stands out to me in this article is that the people at the top of this, the people I think that have interest in making money off of this, are saying that we don't know if the risk of stomach paralysis is worse than the benefit of, like I said before, managing your blood sugar levels if you're a diabetic, and weight management if you're someone that is overweight. And for people that have gone on these drugs for weight management, I completely understand what it's like finding something that stops the desire to binge, that stops the desire to mindlessly eat. And I've experienced the feeling of it being like, oh wow, this is a miracle. Like I'm not I'm not eating the way that I was. And, you know, you see the benefits of that through losing weight. I get it. I feel like because of diet culture, we have gotten to a place where we feel like if we are not on a restrictive diet that we are, you know, following to the letter, then we don't have the ability to not binge or stuff our face, whatever, you know, whatever. And that's why something like Ozempic feels like such a miracle, and it feels like the only option. But I assure you, we have just been conditioned to feel this way. Because what's the one thing that diet culture and pharmaceuticals have in common? Making money off of you. And so investigate that, you know. It's just capitalizing on insecurities. It's making you feel bad for simply existing. And that's why I'm super excited about really getting into this intuitive eating book, because something that I hear people say that are on Ozempic is the food noise has stopped. This is literally what people post on TikTok. They say the food noise has gone down. I'm not thinking about food all the time, which is something that, you know, you may have struggled with before starting Ozempic. And food noise, I don't know, because again, I'm literally just a few pages into this, so I'm no expert. But food noise, I think, is an indicator that you are not listening to your body and you're not fully processing your emotions. So is food noise could just be food noise. It could just be the thing in your mind that is telling you to, you know, eat. Or it could be what you are experiencing when you're feeling stressed, or when you're feeling anxiety, or when you're feeling sadness. And I think that that is something to be investigated. So we'll see. Time will tell what happens with this stuff. And if you're somebody that is on these medications and you want to write in on your experience, I will gladly read about it on the show. Hell, I'll have you on. I mean, who am I? I have fucking 5 listeners, which I love you. Yeah, let's talk about it. I wanted to, but I'm interested to see where we go with the miracle drugs that have been you know, on the market and that are highly, highly sought after. I know plenty of people that have, in my personal life, that have been put on Ozempic, Wegovy, you know, one of the many that are out there now. And they now are off of it because they're just like, I can't deal fighting with the insurance. I can't do it. So there's, you know, there's also that piece of it. And yeah, so anyways, that's all I got for you. That's all I got. Did we hit an hour? Oh, we're well over an hour. Amazing. Amazing. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for listening. I should have a guest next week, and we'll have, you know, you'll hear less from me. And yeah, time to go have some girl dinner. Oh, I wish I had white wine in the house. I could go for a nice glass of white wine with my olives and pickles. Anyways, I love you. Be safe. Be cool. And I'll see you next week. Bye.